Hey everyone, I'm Johanna, yoga and meditation teacher, Reiki master, sound healing practitioner, and sacred cacao facilitator. You're listening to the Vibrational Shift podcast, dedicated to people looking to reconnect with themselves. Together, we'll explore different energy healing modalities, meditations, breathwork, sound healing, and so much more. Are you ready to experience a vibrational shift with me? Hello and welcome to the Vibrational Shift podcast. It's Johanna, your host, and on this week's episode, I welcome on a friend, teacher, and mentor. Her name is Basak Gunaydin. She and I met quite a while ago, and you hear a little bit more about that on the episode. We met in our regular 9-to-5 jobs. One day, my path crossed with hers, and I knew I just wanted to chat with her as much as I could. And as the years went on, I saw her grow and evolve her practice, and eventually saw her leave the corporate world to follow her dreams and passions. Basak recently released a book titled Uncomplicated, and it's meant to be a guide for those of us in the corporate world, how to go from surviving to thriving. And it's a must read. You can catch it on Amazon, find it, get it delivered. It's a pretty easy read. And I think it's something that anyone and everyone who is entering the corporate world or is currently in the corporate world should definitely add to their reading list. Without further ado, please enjoy this conversation with Basak. And she also leads a very beautiful meditation practice at the end for you all. As always, if you're not already, please be sure to subscribe, leave a rating, and I'll catch you on the other side. I met Basak, oh my goodness, I don't even know how many years ago it was at this point, but
I don't even know, a long time ago.
Yeah, several. I'm gonna have to do the math while we're talking and figure out when the first time was, but for sure more than 10 years. It has to be almost I'd say almost 8 years, 8 years.
Probably. 2012, 2011, maybe something like that.
I started in 2012. So yeah. So around 2013 is when I would have crossed paths with you finally. Doc and I have known each other for about 8 years, and I met her in my professional 9-to-5 job. And I will never forget this, Basak. I don't know if you even remember this, but there was one night we had just finished a series of meetings in another city that neither one of us was from. And I had heard that you taught yoga. And I can't remember at that point if we had already taken yoga together or if you had taught me at some point. But I was getting ready to embark on a yoga teacher training. And I was like, I have to sit next to Basak at dinner because I want to talk to her about this. And I'll never forget when I told you I was doing my 200 hour, you were like, just wait until you do your 300 or your 500 and then your 1000 hour. You're going to keep going with it. And I don't know why that always stuck with me. And whenever I could have the chance to interact with you, because my role does not directly put me in direct contact with you, I was like always excited. I was like, oh, Bashak's going to be there. I'll get to say hi to her. And that's how I met Basak. And she's gone on to become a mentor for me and is an amazing teacher who also recently released a book that I think is useful to anyone in corporate America. But Basak, can you just do a quick introduction of who you are, what you do?
Sure. I am a yoga teacher and internationally licensed yoga therapist. I'm a life coach. I'm a textile engineer. I worked in corporate world almost 30 years. And the last 12 years of that, I was also working on the yoga business. So I was doing both. I was organizing retreats internationally. I was teaching yoga and meditation in corporate settings. In a yoga studio, I was teaching yoga classes. So it was a pretty packed last at least 10 years, was pretty intense. And finally, in 2020, I left my corporate job said goodbye to that part of my life, closed that chapter, and I have been full-time now teaching and practicing yoga journey at this point.
Can you maybe point to a couple of times in your life when you know that you needed a shift? Maybe it was that in particular, or it could be anything else.
Yeah, it was in 2005, first time. I was so overworked, overstressed, over-traveled, over everything in terms of work. And work was my singular source of everything in life, source of satisfaction, source of worth, source of sense of self. But there was a time that when I was so dissatisfied, unhappy and unfulfilled, even though I had the success, I was the youngest manager in the boardroom, the only female leader in the boardroom. I was making nice enough money. I was able to travel the world. And I should be in all the material standards happy, but I wasn't. Instead, I was actually dissatisfied with life, and I was looking for answer. This is not, this can't be everything. There has to be something more, and that led me to all these self-help seminars and workshops and landmark education, coaching trainings, and all of that. And at that point in my life, I said, I'm ready because I want it now. So I need to leave my job right this moment and start being a life coach. And I tried that and it didn't work for me because I was trying to do that the way that I did my corporate job by sheer force, by working hard, by being determined. And I was missing a part element that was really important. I was missing the element of heart and energy that needed to be present. So there has to be this flow in life, right? If we are constantly looking to catch the flow, at some point, the flow, pushes you in the face and say, I am here. So that wasn't the moment for me yet. I was still in the flow of working in corporate life. And I quickly realized that because it wasn't working for me. I went back to corporate life. And in time, as I was continuing to develop myself, I realized what was missing. The element of, mind-body connection was missing. It was very cognitive, everything that I've been learning. It was basically acquiring knowledge. But for knowledge to become wisdom, it needs to be put into practice. So that gave me that time to really practice and understand all the missing parts, missing elements. And then I started my yoga journey. I was always practicing yoga all my life, but I never thought I was going to really get into it in a deep way. But somehow, some way, life opened up opportunities for me to start the trainings in yoga. And then it quickly clicked. The missing element I found was really me. I was missing in the whole occasion.
Yeah.
So, and with that awareness, with practicing the main, we would call them discipline in yoga, certain discipline of yoga, tapas. By doing the practices, it became natural. It was very natural evolution. By the time I left my job second time, that was the right time. That was exactly when everything came together, everything opened up, all the doors that I needed to open up. So I was just patient, almost 10 years to really be ready to leave my job. So it wasn't just on a whim because I thought that was the right time. So second time around was the charm for me.
And when you talk about finding that discipline or that's what you were missing, and you waited that long period of time, how did you know that you were ready?
Right. It's a feeling, right? When we are just making decisions through just pure mind, it is not always right decisions because there's a part of you missing. So this came through intuition, through heart. I was in a meditation. I never forget this moment. I was leading a meditation in a retreat in Turkey. And one morning after the meditation, I woke up, or stood up and went to see my mother and my husband that was sitting and waiting for me. And I walked in, and without even thinking anything, there was no thought in the mind. It just came from my mouth that I am ready. This is time. Time is now. So that was more of a realization rather than decision. So, and that in that moment, everything came together. Everything was very clear for me. Again, I didn't have a very concrete plan, but I think the life force within me directed me that this is the time and you are ready.
So I mentioned at the beginning, you recently released a book, I think within the last few weeks. Can you tell us a little bit about the process of how that book came together and the contents of the book, anything that you'd like to share?
So this book is Uncomplicated. It is a small book, it's about 125 pages. It's a guide to thriving in the corporate world. Um, this book came out in a dream. I've been doing dream study at that time, and one of my dreams was at first not very clear, but as I continued to do the lucid dreaming in the next couple of weeks, it became very clear that there was this message to me that, it's time. You left your corporate job. There's all this learning that you had. See, in corporate world, we all learn how to do our jobs, but nobody teaches us how to be our true self, full self in the workplace. And because of that, most of the time we suffer. Most of the time we just survive the workplace and not really completely thrive in the workplace in all of
Mm-hmm.
ourselves. So during my whole career, I saw such a shift in me before and after yoga. Before, where I was, how, as I mentioned a little bit, making the whole work my identity. And I was working really hard and exhausting myself so much, having no personal life whatsoever. After the work, after yoga, everything shifted in my life in the sense that work became easier and more joyful. At the same time, my relationships shifted and changed. I find the love of my life. I got married, and both personal and work life became more harmonious in that way. And I had these learnings through yoga philosophy that I start applying to workplace. And as I start doing that, I noticed why these shifts were taking place, truly becoming, active, taking practices from mat, literally, like you would hear this a lot, to life. So I needed to share this. This dream was telling me basically there's many people maybe in your space, maybe some people, or especially people who just starting their work or who are very dissatisfied in their work life, can maybe take some of these learnings into heart. Maybe they can practice it the way you practiced it. So I wanted to leave this as a, my gift, literally, to those who came after me, which is in yoga, there is this idea of parampara. Everything is communicated from teacher to student, and all the knowledge is coming from the ancient Vedic books and the knowledge of teachers. And then all we do is, as teachers, we represent that knowledge. So it's not really us telling what is going on, it's us communicating what we learned from this real source, which we call it true knowledge. So it is an eternal knowledge. It's not a temporary knowledge, which is most of everything else is in this material universe. So I wanted to communicate that. That was purely my intention, and then I started writing. It took about 2 years to complete it because I'm not a writer, and English is not my first language, as you can see. So it was a journey to really write and put something together. And it's also very interesting when you're starting to write something, you can see why so many brilliant people are having a hard time publishing a book because they can never finish it. You can never put a certainty into any concept. You're growing every day. You're shifting. Your mind is acquiring new way of looking at things, new information, new intuition. So nothing is always complete, but I figured that I just put out what is there right now for me in a very concise, very simple way that can communicate to anybody.
I love that, Basak. And when I got the book, I think I saw as soon as it went live, and then it came the next day. I was flipping through the table of contents, and the one chapter that caught my eye that I cannot wait to get to is the art of arguing. Um, like the perfect title for the chapter or for a chapter that really grabbed my eye. I just, I'm sure that there are so many different pieces within that book that will be useful to people that are in the corporate world. And I love how you talk about um rather than just surviving to like thriving and really being in a place where you can thrive and giving people the tools by which to do so. So thank you for putting that work out into the world.
Thank you. I mean, one of my passion, that's why I teach in corporate space mainly. That's really my target audience because I know that as companies are start to explore the dynamics of employee focus way of strategies, and understanding that employees' well-being holistically is going to create the healthy environment and success for every company. I feel it's really important, especially for the leaders, because I've been in a leadership position in my corporate career, and leaders have to first learn healthy models of behavior. And rather than rushing and getting things done, to start slowing down and start really become aware of how they are being in the workplace. Because even from a childhood, a child starts looking at their parents' behavior to understand the world, right? If something happens and parents make a very distinctive, response, child immediately draws a conclusion, oh, this is safe for me or this is dangerous for me. And that continues throughout our lives. We start modeling behavior from our teachers, our colleagues, the leaders in the corporate place, the politicians, right? So it becomes really important to understand that responsibility. And workplace is not just, or the leadership is not just about getting the work done, but it's also about creating an environment where everybody can be expressing themselves completely and fully, so their potential is realized. In turn, then company can grow with a healthy place. So those are really important to me. I'm very passionate about having this mental health, especially aspect, becoming very important and upfront in corporate space.
All right. So we are at the point where I am going to invite you, Basak, to lead everyone through a practice that they can use to help them every day, any time of the day to have a shift, to be able to come back to themselves. So I pass the mic over to you.
When you put it that way, what comes to my mind is breath, because breath work to me is a life-shifting practice, because breath is our life force. Everything is in breath. If there's no breath, nothing matters, right? Our health doesn't matter, our body doesn't matter, our mind doesn't matter, because nothing can work without breath. And we don't necessarily utilize our breath to full capacity in our day-to-day life. So coming back to breath, returning to breath, and utilizing the full breath is important. So I think I can do a practice where we can have a connection with breath, and we'll also connect to the different energies the breath is creating. We call this practice pancha prana. So it's the five. Pancha means five. Prana is the life force. We get the life force through breath into our body, and there's five distinct movements of the breath in the body. So I'll take you through those movements and see how that feels afterwards. So let's take a comfortable seat. Roll the shoulders back, bring the spine tall. And if you want to lean back to be comfortable, that's completely fine. For those who want to lie down on the floor, that's even better, so that there's no tension in the body. Gently close your eyes and just quickly check the body to make sure that parts of the body that may need a little bit more comfort, more release, can have the opportunity to do that. Maybe turn the palms towards the ceiling so the shoulders can relax more down, lifting the spine in a way that there's an alignment in the body. The head, the shoulders, the hips can be on the same line. The side body from hips to armpits on both sides evenly extended. Hips are comfortable. Arms and legs are separate, so the shoulders and hips can be relaxed. As the body relaxes, we bring our awareness to the breath, right at the entrance of the nostrils. Without trying to control it, change it. Simply observe your breath. As the breath is moving in and out of the nostrils, notice the slight temperature change. Inhalations are slightly cooler, exhalations with the body's heat slightly warmer. Keep your mind at this breath. As the mind is more and more attached to the breath, mind can release all the other thought patterns. When we breathe, we are not just breathing through the nostrils or the mouth. We are breathing through the largest organ, our skin. Each and every pore of the skin is breathing. And as the breath moves into the body, it moves in different directions. We call it vayus or winds. Now bring the awareness to the eyebrow center. And notice the space in the eyebrow center. We call it Chidakash, mind space. And notice, as soon as you bring your awareness to the Chidakash, there's a certain amount of lightness that pervades the mind space. Now move the awareness to the pelvic floor. And notice the pelvic floor, the energy is slightly denser than the mind space. Now, as you breathe in and out, imagine a beautiful yellow light. You've seen the color of yellow. Imagine whatever shade of yellow, which is your own mind's creation. Bringing that color yellow, moving downwards from your hips to the feet, like the raindrops. Rapidly moving yellow raindrops through the hips to the legs and to the feet. Part of prana, life force, moves through the body downwards, helping with elimination, letting go. So we don't hold on to anything. We let go of what is unnecessary, what is not helpful. As you continue to breathe in and out, a branch of prana moves through the abdominal region, through the side body, side to side. The color is yellow, this time red. So moving from yellow to red, side to side, rapidly moving prana, energy, connecting to the abdominal region. This red light is detoxifying the body, purifying the body, helping with digestion. Digesting not only the food and nutrients, but also knowledge, information. Continue to focus on the abdominal region through your breath. Now the third branch of prana, as you breathe in and out, moves through center of the breastbone upwards to the throat and face. As you breathe in and out, color blue, moving blue lights through the chest, the lungs, up to the throat and the head. Keep visualizing these blue lights with this upward movement. Cleansing the lung and the heart space. Opening the throat region so that there's no obstruction in the pathways of breath through the throat to the heart. Our sense of self resides in the throat. Our self-expression. In this way, we are able to express ourselves with who we truly are from the heart space. Now the fourth branch of prana moves as spiraling white lights through the arms, spiraling from shoulders to fingertips, back to the shoulders, from hips down to the feet and back up, moving through the knees, the thighs, front of the legs, back of the legs and arms, through the head, back of the head, the face, spiraling white light. As you breathe in and out, feel these bright white lights moving upward and downward in all directions. Notice the tingling sense in the fingertips, in the toes, in the skin of the arms and legs. Fifth branch of prana moves through the entire body as shooting lights, these little quick shooting stars, color white, moving through the entire body. Feel these little tingling sensations through the whole body, through the torso, through the chest, back, hips and legs, through the shoulders and arms, through the neck, top of the head. Now visualize all of these lights at the same time. Yellow lights moving downwards from hip to the toes. Red lights side to side in the abdominal region. Blue lights from breastbone up to the throat and head. Spiraling white lights through the arms and legs and head. Quick shooting stars through the entire body. Feel all these 5 branches prana now. Imagine the entire body is ball of light. From the center, from the core of the body, expanding outside in these colors. Maybe one color is more prominent for you than the other color. Simply release any intention to see, forcing yourself to see something. Become aware of any colors, any movements in the body. realizing you are a ball of energy. We are all energy beings. Now take a slower, deeper inhalation, slower, deeper exhalation. Gently bring the hands together in the heart. Bow your head, your mind to the wisdom of the heart. Namaste. Lift the head, open your eyes. Hari Om Tat Sat.
Thank you for sharing that practice with everyone. How can people get in contact with you if they are interested in purchasing your book? Where can they get that? And then more information, how to connect with you.
So the book is Uncomplicated. It's available in Amazon and Barnes and Noble online. You can purchase it as a soft cover book. You can also connect me through Instagram, Basak's Yoga and BASAKS Yoga, or you can email me bashaksyoga@gmail.com. My website is yogamaglobal.org. Yogamaglobal.org. Thank you so much for your time and this lovely conversation.
Yes, thank you. Thank you again for joining me on this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed the practice and you enjoyed the conversation with Basak. She is a beautiful soul and a wonderful light to have in this world. Join me for next week's episode as we welcome on Maricela, who does some really cool Plática style work and weaves in other kinds of modalities into the work that she does. So I hope you'll listen in and enjoy the beautiful practice that she leads us all through on that episode. As always, be sure to reach out. You can find me at Luna Serenity Yoga on Instagram and at lunaserenity.com.